Salutations, readers. Welcome to or welcome back to the City Go Writer channel. My name is Nkechi, and welcome to my Summerween reading vlog. Now, if you do not know what Summerween is, it is a readathon in summer, usually hosted, I think, in July, where we read spooky books before spooky season. It takes place July 7th to July 13th, and it is hosted by Gabby from Gabby Reads and Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. I will link their channels down below, and also their announcement videos, so that if you have any questions or you want to know some more things specifically regarding this readathon, definitely check out their announcement videos down below in the description. And let's get over my TBR. I am recording this on July 6th, so a day before the readathon actively starts, but I just want to give y'all my TBR as far as what I plan to read. Now, the very first prompt in this readathon is to read a book in the dark or at night. I do tend to read books typically at night because for some reason that's just how my brain just likes to read a book. But the book I chose for this prompt is A Song for the Wild book by Becky Chambers. This particularly is not a spooky book, but I just wanted something extra in my TBR. Just like, you know what, if I just need a little bit of a breather from all the other books for whatever reason, then this would be the book that I would read. And also, any other book that I have in this TBR could easily fit this prompt. It's not just this book in particular. It's just that I wanted to put a book for one of my other book challenges for the 12 Works by 12 Friends on Instagram on here, so that I have an excuse to read this book, because it's taking me forever to read this. And it's a novella. It's a cozy sci-fi novella. And then the next prompt is to read a thriller. I don't really read thrillers very often, but I have heard a lot of good things about this particular thriller, and that is Confessions by Kane Minato. This is, I think, translated from Japanese to English. And I know this has to do something with the murder of a student, and the point of this story is to figure out who did it. It's more like a whodunit, it's a murder mystery thriller kind of a thing. And I do typically like murder mysteries, so we'll see about this one. And I heard really good things. It's also really short too, so I do hope to get through it, because you will notice some things about my TBRs that a lot of these books are going to be short. Next prompt, read a book that takes place in autumn. Now for this one, it was a little bit hard, just a little bit, because I wasn't sure, just solely looking on the synopsis of a book, if that particular book would take place in autumn. But I think with this one, I think it's been made a little bit clear that this will be taking place in autumn, because it takes place during the school year, it's early school year. And that it is The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. This is a YA paranormal fantasy that follows a deaf student who goes to a prestigious program, and something about a murder, I think, happens on campus, just like any other YA, just dark academia books. It's always something about a murder. Oh yeah, because this is also dark academia and stuff, and yeah, I don't really know too much about it. And honestly, I don't want to know too much about it. And also, this is actually a full moon book club pick, hosted by Jan from Jan Agaton. So this is the July pick, and also I've been having it on my TBR shelf for a while, so I'm like, you know what, why not? Let's give this book a chance. And also, it's YA, so yeah, even though it's nearly 400 pages, I do think I'll be able to get through it in the week. The next prompt, read a book with orange or black on the cover. I mean, this could easily, I have so many books that could easily fulfill this prompt, but honestly, I just want to find something short and quick if I actually give myself some time to actually sit down and read it. But I think the one that I think is a good book to fit this prompt in particular will be The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. This is actually one of my most anticipated releases for this year that I have not read for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. I do know that this is a retelling of The Crane Wife, which is a Japanese folktale. I'm not familiar with this particular folktale. I want to see how Kelly Barnhill would retell this particular story following a 15-year-old teenager who is the backbone of her small Midwestern family, taking care of the household, but then for some reason I think her mother brings in a 6-foot tall crane and stuff like that. And I heard that this is a metaphor for something pretty much really dark. So yeah, I'm definitely going to tread with caution on this one. I'll also look up the content warnings for this as well, so that I'm not going in this completely blind, but with some caution. And then the last prompt is to read a manga, graphic novel, or novella. I already showed y'all 2 novellas, but I'm going to show y'all another novella because I want to get through the novellas that I have on my physical TBR. We have The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown. The only thing I noted, this is a space horror we have a crew, something happens, and yeah, that's all I know. And that's all I really want to know, because I don't want to know too much. Again, it's a novella. You don't want to know too much that's in a novella. But yes, this is pretty much my TBR for this readathon. Now, as far as if I'm actually going to be reading all these books, that's going to depend on mood and the content of the books themselves. I do not know which book I will get through, or which books I'll get through for this readathon, but hey, these are the priority ones, and then we'll see if they work for me or if they not. So yeah, I will pretty much see you all tomorrow. Salutations, everyone. So this is the end of day 1, and I have managed to finish a book off of my TBR. I finished The Crane Husband by Kelly Barhill. This one really was not for me. I think that this was just fine. I don't really know what to really say about this. That doesn't always spoil things, but even then, I'm still just feeling fine with it. This is my very first Kelly Barhill book, so I wasn't really familiar with her writing style. And it's not like her writing style is bad. It's just that I don't particularly, I guess, vibe with it, or I just think it's just fine. But I will have to say, though, that the actual story itself, it did leave me feeling pretty haunted, because of the actual Crane husband itself, and also the fact this does have graphic domestic abuse. So if you do read this, be fair warned that this has a lot of scenes of domestic abuse. In fact, the entire point of this story novella is actually surrounding domestic abuse. So if that's not a story, or if that particular material is something that is a little bit triggering or sensitive for you, then definitely stay clear of this one. And for me, I think and handle it. I think the metaphor for it is indeed a creative one, for sure. I definitely think it makes sense here. But as far as actual plot of the story, it was already pretty predictable. And if you're not familiar with The Crane Husband, it's just, again, like I said before, it is a retelling of The Crane Wife, which is a Japanese folktale. The novella does actually have a character pretty much explaining the folktale itself. And when I finally found out what that folktale entailed, I was like, yeah, this is pretty much going to be playing it straight, basically. And, well, I know it's a retelling, but I was kind of hoping. But then again, what kind of ruined the point of the story? Something's like, basically. So would I recommend this? Honestly, I don't even know. And it doesn't help either that I give this one 2.5. And 2.5 is just like, I think this is just an average read. It's an average story. It's just average. I don't think there's much spectacular. I do think it has a creative use. Like the idea of having a creative use to portray or to talk about this metaphor, but I felt like it just went through it straight. I don't think there's much discussion to be had with this or anything. It's just something like, yep, domestic abuse, it's definitely a terrible thing, and the kind of a little bit of like maybe a little bit of the psyche regarding that, but other than that, it's just fine. And for something like this, I kind of was hoping for more. And yeah, and the writing style doesn't lend itself too much, but it definitely left me a little bit haunted because of the subject matter itself. But none of that, it was fine. 2.5 stars, so not really a great start to the this readathon, but that's okay. But if you also could tell from our lighting here, I am indeed the dark. I do have my reading lamp right there, so that's where the light is coming from. And I'm doing this way because, well, you know, one of the prompts is to read a book in the dark or at night, and it is at night. And it's mostly in the dark. So I'm thinking I'm going to switch over to another novella, A Sum for the Wild, built by Becky Chambers. Maybe just something here a little bit more cozy or something. Maybe I could just read this and right now it's already like past 10 p.m. I think we're getting close to 11 now. So I could be reading this, or maybe I could read The Scourge Between Stars. This does fulfill the novella prompt, but so could have The Crane Husband. I don't know. So I'm just in the mood, honestly, to either read The Scourge Between Stars, A Sum for the Wild built, or maybe even start reading The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. I don't know. Again, this is a YA book, so I do see myself as reading this pretty quickly, maybe like in 3 days or something. But it would be nice just to get a little bit of a head start, but I don't know. I could literally read any of the books on this TBR right now, or at least start reading it, because I also haven't started reading Confessions yet, and I do want to get started on like either Whispering Dark or Confessions because of the fact that it is longer. And it did take me, I think, like just a few hours just to read The Crane Husband. But if I read just another novella, you know, like something like The Sum for the Well Built or The Scourge Between Stars, then maybe it was just made me feel a little bit more accomplished, all right? That's the whole point. I mean, I like to do readathons, but I also like to accomplish prompts. So, yeah, I'll pretty much will let y'all know tomorrow on what I chose to read and what I get done reading. So, yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Salutations, everyone. Today is July 8th, so it is day 2 of Summerween. And I have a few updates for y'all because I'm already feeling like I'm in the trenches and it's only day 2. So yeah, let me just first off say that I started reading A Song for the Wild Bullets by Bacon Chambers, and I also DNF'd A Song for the Wild Bullets as well. This is a DNF. What did I stop at? Oh yeah, I stopped at page 21. This is just really not for me. And after reading The Crane Husband, pushing through that, I was just like, I cannot push through this one. I know this is a novella, but like it's also longer of a novella than The Crane Husband. It's nearly 150 pages, and I'm just like, I can't do this again. We can't be 2 for 2 for another novella. I just cannot. Not for this readathon. So honestly, it's just, there's nothing wrong with this inherently. Honestly, I feel like there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just, it really was not for me. I feel like I was snoozing, I was getting bored, and I know I did chose this for like, read this book in the dark and stuff, but I just want to read a little bit in the daytime just to get a little bit feel for it. Yeah, I don't care enough for this story to even try to read this in the dark, even as a cozy stuff, because it is lighthearted, it's hopeful, it's fine, but I'm just like, I'm kind of bored. Like I need more. I just need more. And I also feel like that the story itself would not be, it won't give me as much either as far as like the story or themes. I'm just like, okay, fine, this has been a fine story, but like I want more than just this. Not just in length, but just of the kind of content that this novella could bring. But it just cannot. So I'm DNFing this, which means I won't be continuing on with this series. Maybe I can read something else by Bacon Chambers, but honestly, this is just not it for me. And then I tried to read The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown, but it's not even really a DNF because I only just read the first page, and I'll have to tell y'all, I am not intrigued. I do not care for this. So I'm actually just removing it from the TBR entirely because what's even the point? Like, what's even the point? There's no point. I'm just not intrigued with it. So I don't know, like, all these novellas that I've been reading so far have honestly just been duds. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I literally chose these novellas so that it's just easier for me to get through books, because of this length. But for some reason, all they have done for me is just make me feel like, yeah, this is just boring. They're just boring to me. I'm like, I just chose really the most boring novellas. At least with The Crane Husband, I read through it, but then again, I kind of had to because I initially requested this on NetGalley, and it was an anticipated release. I was like, well, I gotta read this, but here I am being like 2.5, so like there's that. And then these two, I literally DNF and just be like, well, we're moving from the TBR because I'm just bored as hell. And honestly, I was really upset about that. I was really I felt kind of down. I was really angry too. Then I'm just like, dang, I feel like I'm just like chose the really wrong books for this readathon, my very first Summerween, and is this bad? What in the world? Not a good start at all. However, I have started another book that I think will fit better for like the prompt that A Song for the Wild Bull was for, which is honestly fine. And I'll probably switch The Crane Husband for a different prompt. I think The Crane Husband I'll fit for like the read a manga, graphic novel, or novella, since it is indeed a novella. And then I think the book with orange or black on the cover, but also a book I can read in the dark, is The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. And I have already started this. I'm on, what page am I on? I'm on page 26. I'm actually really enjoying this one. I'm really intrigued. I do like our protagonist so far, Delaney. She is a college freshman in this college program. She is deaf, and she's also apparently afraid of the dark, which is interesting. And I find this to be also ironic since I plan to read this book in the dark, or at least at night, because right now it is literally like 11 something p.m. right now. And this already fulfills the prompt for read a book that takes place in autumn. So honestly, this book will be fulfilling like 2-3 prompts. I mean, the Confessions could also fit for like read a book with orange or black on the cover, but for this one, I think I'm going to put this one on here, but I'll still be reading Confessions because I haven't started reading that one yet. And even though I'm only 26 pages into this one, I do see myself reading a lot more of it. The writing style is easy enough for me to just read And I'm already intrigued enough with the story, and also to learn a little bit more about this, since it is paranormal fantasy and it's also YA. So I am intrigued with this. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Really not a good start to this readathon so far. But I am optimistic since I am enjoying The Whispering Dark. And I'll update y'all tomorrow night. Salutations, everyone. Today is the end of day 3. It is nearly 10 p.m. and I just want to give y'all some updates. I still have my little candle going, and for today I just decided, you know what, let's record with the lights on instead of being in the dark again, because why be that consistent? Anyways, so I have done some more reading. I have continued reading The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, and I do like it, but I am also starting to lose interest. It's actually I'm slowly losing the grip on the story for me, which I don't like how I feel about that, because there's nothing inherently wrong with this story. I just feel like we're pretty much just aimless right now, and I don't know what to really make with the actual plot, because all we're doing right now, at least in the first part, is Delaney just going through school and pretty much struggling with school. She's really having some difficulty with schoolwork and even just following through with conversations. Like, she's struggling a little bit, okay? She is definitely struggling, at least in her perspective. And actually, this is dual POV. So we have her perspective struggling with the school, and then we have Colton's perspective where he is doing something. I don't know what to do about him. And honestly, it's not even really a spoiler with Colton, because it's literally, the first part is literally called The Resurrection of Colton Price. So it's not really a spoiler to say that he was resurrected. I do not know how he was resurrected, but I do find it interesting that he is. But I don't know if this is really a work of necromancy, because that's really the only thing I know about regarding resurrecting people from the dead. I mean, again, Locked Tomb series, but like, can you blame me? It gives me necromancy vibe, but like, I don't think it goes in that route. I was definitely intrigued with it yesterday, but then again, that's because the novellas literally striked out. So I only got this one that I started. But for the most part, I think this one is just fine as like the story itself. I think the fantasy here is, the fantasy is more paranormal. It's a paranormal fantasy, to be really specific, because don't expect this to be really high in the magic. Just think of this as more paranormal fantasy, and like just paranormal, where there's ghosts and you literally have someone resurrect from the dead, and someone who's able to hear from the whispers of the dark, which again is the titular title here. And I'm kind of just waiting for the part in the synopsis where Delaney and Colton are supposed to like team up together. And another thing too that I'm actually finding also a little bit weird is that Colton is supposed to be Delaney's love interest, but he's like the TA for her freshman class, and I'm just like, what? And he's also a college senior, which is, I find it a little bit iffy. Even though it said, at least in Delaney's perspective, it said that he only looked maybe no more than a year or two older than her. I still find it just a little bit iffy that a college senior is the love interest to a college freshman. You know, in their backstory, they definitely have met before in a way, but I don't like this setup. If they're supposed to be a love interest kind of thing, I don't particularly like that at all. But maybe my feelings on it change, or maybe more about their dynamic could also help a little bit more. But as of right now, I don't really like that. So I don't know. This might be a potential DNF in the future, which really, really sucks. But we'll see. I can't believe I didn't think about this before, but I actually put a hold on the audiobook. I'm first in line, so I'm just waiting for whoever is holding on to the audiobook copy will just drop it already, so I can just listen to this via audio. It's only, I think, 14 hours long, so not too long. I'll at least be able to get through it, because I've already started it, so at least I already got a head start. So if I continue reading it physically and just keep waiting until the audiobook hold comes in, then cool. And besides, even if I don't finish reading The Whispering Dark in this reading vlog, I'm still going to read it for the end of the month for Full Moon Book Club. So either way, this book will be read or DNF'd, so something's going to happen. But I wasn't just reading The Whispering Dark, because honestly, I haven't been reading much of it, but I have actually officially started Confessions by Kane Minato. This is a what is this? A crime mystery thriller. This is translated from Japanese, and I have already started it. And I will have to say that I am genuinely hooked. Okay, this book is so fascinating and so interesting. I'm only 33 pages in, but I am so fascinated and I'm intrigued. I want to know what happened to this teacher's daughter. And the chapters are really long. Okay, there's only like 6 chapters, but those chapters are very long, except for like, I think the final chapter. And another thing too is that the way that this story is written makes it so fascinating. Like, it's written in first person. Like, it's written as the teacher, our protagonist, is talking to her classmates, her students, because this is the last day that she's gonna have a lecture, and she's talking about like her life a little bit and some things. We get some introductory things, and then also we get to the part that, you know, her 4-year-old daughter died, and she knows who did it. She knows it's literally 2 students in her classroom right now that she's giving this lecture. Like, what? What do you mean, you know? Like, first of all, she's like, oh, I know who it is. She's basically like, oh, yeah, I know who it is. Yo, what is up with that? Like, she knows? That part tripped me up. I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean you know who it is? But then she's like, well, don't worry, I'm not going to blast out your names in this classroom. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to blast it out? Tell me. But then again, if she just told us who had done it, we wouldn't have this book. So I am in for a whole ride. And I do think that the rest of the chapters are going to have varying perspectives of students, and there'll be twists and turns, because this is a mystery thriller. So there's a mystery behind, you know, who actually done it, basically, who committed this murder of this 4-year-old. But it's also a thriller in the sense that, oh, this is also pretty fast paced too. So we're going to get through this pretty quickly. So I do hope that maybe in like a couple of days, I'll be able to finish this, and then hopefully the audiobook for The Whispering Dark will come in and I can finish that. So yeah, hopefully we can at least get through this TBR, because if I DNF The Whispering Dark, then I only got Confessions. But yeah, so good news, Confessions is slapping hard and I am hooked. The not so good news is that I am slowly losing interest in The Whispering Dark, and I'm hoping the audiobook will help, because I do tend to really enjoy YA books when I read them via audio. So I'm just banking on the fact that the audiobook hold will come through and I get to finish this book. But anyways, I have to let y'all know what happens tomorrow, because I have no choice but to wait and see how this is all going to go down. And hopefully I am furthering along with the book, or something happens. I don't know, but I'll let y'all know tomorrow. Salutations, readers. Today is day 4 of Summerween. Yes, and it is 11:05 p.m. and I just want to update y'all and to let you know that no reading was done. Yep, I'm just admitting it. I didn't do any reading at all today. I didn't even touch or even look at The Whispering Dark or Confessions or anything like that. They're just there being like, oh yeah, we exist, but I didn't look their way. And instead, I pretty much did a lot of editing. I actually edited and already have a video scheduled. But yeah, I pretty much spent a lot of my day editing that video, catching up on some YouTube videos to just watch. Made coffee. I made a cup of coffee, and then my sibling brought me a cup of coffee from Starbucks, so I have that, even though it is literally 11 p.m. at night. But, you know, here we are. And yeah, just did that, and I'm pretty much planning, even scripting another video or 2 as well. So honestly, this has been a content creating kind of mindset today. I haven't been really much of a reader mindset, so I have not touched Confessions or The Whispering Dark or much of anything else. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, we're already halfway through the readathon, and I'm already feeling like I can't keep going anymore. But I do want to see it through. And I mean, so far this reading vlog has already been feeling like a bust. And I really do. I feel bad for myself for doing this, because I'm just like, dang, I was really excited for this. And then we just really had a bumpy start, and then it just kind of went downhill. So if it continues to go downhill, then, well, we might as well roll down this hill, right? Might as well keep on going. And yeah, if this ends up being a bust of a vlog, then it's a bust of a vlog. It is what it is. But since I do have coffee with me, and I think I'll be up for a while, I could probably read The Whispering Dark and Confessions if I'm in a reading mood. And that depends if I'm even in my Summerween TBR kind of a mood, because I don't even know. I don't know what this vlog is becoming into. I don't know if this is supposed to be a Summerween reading vlog anymore. Like, is this a Summerween reading vlog, or is this just ending up to be a weekly reading vlog? Because I don't even know if I'm in the mood to be reading these books anymore. Or maybe I should read my other books that I'm currently reading, because at this point, that's what I feel like. And I'm actually really am in an audiobook mood, but the audiobook haul for The Whispering Dark has not come in yet. But yeah, that's pretty much the update. It's just that. Not the greatest, but hey, we're here, right? But anyways, I'll pretty much let y'all know, update y'all tomorrow if any reading will be done. And I'll let y'all know whenever that happens. Salutations, readers. Today is day 5 of Summerween, and I actually do have a reading update today. I started hosting my reading sprints, my usual monthly reading sprints, and I finally went back to my original TBR for Summerween. I continued reading Confessions by Kane Minato, and y'all, I am more than halfway through this book already. I'm on page 131. I'm on chapter 4. I'm like, y'all, this book just keeps getting crazier and crazier, and I'm just like, I just feel like things are slowly unraveling right before me as far as like how everything went down. Motivations, methods, like I'm just like, wow, the consequences of said actions for this revenge, like, whoa, I see why this is a number 1 international bestseller. I can see that. Like, it really, really does well. And for someone who's not really quite into thrillers, this is definitely making like, you know what? Let me see if I can find more thrillers like this. If I can find more crime mystery thrillers, I'm here for it, okay? I am here for it. I'm glad I'm starting to dip my toe more into thrillers. And I'm not quite like annotating it, but I have been like underlining a few things here and there. So that if I just flip through it or something, then I can like notice something. But yeah, this is very interesting. And we don't really have like a central main character, but we do have a catalyst for the events that's going on. Because again, it's the death of this teacher's 4-year-old daughter and stuff. And actually not her death, really her murder and the more I just think about it, the more I'm just like, wow, all of this happened because a 4-year-old was murdered. And we're going like this way. I was like, dang, I actually am so looking forward to finishing this. And I do see myself actively finishing this for tomorrow. But if I don't finish this tomorrow, I don't know what's up with me. But yeah, I just pretty much just want to update y'all for that and to let y'all know that I'm really, really enjoying this. And I do see myself finishing Confessions. So I'm definitely going to update y'all tomorrow night as well to let y'all know what I thought about Confessions. So yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Salutations, everyone. It is day 6 of Summerween, and I have some updates for y'all. Actually, we have good and the bad. Should we start with the bad news, or should we start with the good news? Honestly, let's start with the bad news, so that we'll end with some positive note. So, first up, The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. I am officially DNF in this book. I no longer care enough for the story. I'm not even going to wait for the audiobook to come. I just don't care enough at all. I just don't care. And not just for this readathon, even for the Full Moon Book Club pick, I just don't care enough about The Whispering Dark to continue. I no longer care about Delaney and Colton and whatever's going on with the dark and the whisper. I don't care about all this paranormal stuff at all. The only thing about going on for this book is that it's a YA paranormal fantasy with like a dark academia setting. That's pretty much all I got from this. And I'm just like, I need more than that. It's just not enough for me. I don't really care. Unfortunately, there's nothing really wrong with it, except for maybe when I thought about like Colton and Delaney possibly coming together, and I'm just like, honestly, not quite a big fan of that. But like, it feels pretty a minor thing when I think of the grand scheme of just this thing. I'm like, honestly, I think it might just be a harmless thing, but I don't know. I just don't care enough anymore about this story. So for anyone who wants to read it, sure, I'm not gonna stop you, but I don't care. I really don't. But hey, let's get to the good news, at least something I actually do care about, and that is Confessions by Kane Minato. This one I finally finished. I finished it at 4 a.m. I didn't read this in the dark, but I did read this at night, and well, I give this one 4 stars. This is a really, really good thriller that's actually a revenge story. I will admit, I don't really read thrillers, let alone ones that don't really require suspense. This is a straight up revenge story where you have pretty much just several people having their own version of confessions, and they have their own mini revenges. But the grand scheme of things is the fact that this teacher whose 4-year-old daughter died, and she's enacted her revenge on her students. That's the whole point of this story. And this story is literally about that revenge and then the punishment that these students face. And I will have to say, I was like, dang. And the last page, y'all, when I got to the last page, I said that really just happened. Dang. Like the ending, y'all, the ending. Top tier. Awesome. I loved it. But I didn't give this one 4.5, or I didn't give it 5, and not even like 4.5, because as much as I really did enjoy this thriller, the idea of having kind of the exact same story kind of being told to us over and over again was indeed feeling pretty repetitive. And I think that is a common critique about this particular book, is that sure, we have multiple perspectives, but we're all and having their own version of confessions, but we're talking about the exact same story over and over again. It's just that with varying details from what different people and how they see it. So I'm like, sure, that's fine and all, and I do like that way as a creative use of the structure, but the way we're still getting the exact same story over and over again, And also, even for a revenge story, I kind of wanted there to be more discussion on revenge a little bit. I don't know, maybe not even quite a critique, but just more of a discussion on revenge and if it's really worth going through all of that, and who gets to really just dictate on crime, and on the crime, and who gets to be punished. I mean, I think there's definitely some instances where it's definitely talked. I mean, like, not like talked. There were instances of it where the characters have at least thought about it themselves, like what may be worth it as what counts for revenge and all that stuff. But I felt like it didn't go that deep into it. I wanted to be more talks about revenge and punishment. Yeah, all I know is that this was just really, really good. I definitely recommend this for sure. So if you haven't read it, I definitely do recommend it. It is short, and yes, the chapters are long, but it is fast paced. You can still just keep going and going and going, and you'll be able to get through it. Although, tread with caution with this though, because there is some pretty heavy content warnings. There is child abuse, child neglect, suicidal thoughts, murder, child death, blood, all that stuff is in here. A little bit of animal death as well. So yeah, tread with caution if you read Confessions. And yeah, that's pretty much all I read for today. Mostly, honestly, it was just earlier this morning. I really haven't read much of anything else besides finishing up Confessions. And also, I don't see a point in continuing on with this vlog. I know there is still one more day left of Summerween, but I already went through the initial TBR, whether I finished the book or I DNF'd it. So I'm just like, what's the point of continuing on this vlog, you know? And I didn't have any backups. I don't really have any alternatives that I could read for the last day and all that stuff. So let's just cut to the chase and just end the vlog here. As a quick wrap up, I read The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill, 2.5 stars, not really for me. Then I read A Song for the Well-Built by Becky Chambers. This was a novella just like The Crane Husband, sci-fi, not for me, DNF'd at page 21. Then we have The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown. I didn't even get very far. I only read the first page and I was like, yeah, no longer interested. So it's not even quite even a DNF. It's just like, I'm just no longer interested. So I'm just removed this one from the TBR entirely. And then we have Confessions by Kane Minato, 4 stars, highly recommend. Then we have The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew, DNF at page 58. I don't care. Lost interest. Not really for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I've really got to say for Summerween. And as far as the entire experience, I mean, I hope this vlog ends up making some sort of sense. But y'all, this was a rough 6 days as far as reading wise. It was very rough. We had some mostly duds. This was not a really good experience for me. And I think maybe for the future, I will make sure to have a lot more horror, mystery, thriller, crime, something like that, maybe as more alternatives. But since I'm still new to horror, mysteries, and thrillers, and even crime fiction, it was hard for me to really pull even a TBR together. So yeah, I think the next time I'm going to participate, I don't think it will be next year, but maybe it will be next year, or maybe a year after that. But I'm going to make sure I have some time of get more myself acquainted into horror, mystery, thrillers, even crime fiction before I get back into Summerween, because I need more wins and less misses and duds. Like, I want more. I want more great reads and amazing reads and favorites and 5 stars. Like, nothing in here is a 5 star. So, yay. Yeah. But yeah, you know, if y'all were here for the chaos and this weird kind of journey with Summerween with me, if you liked it, you know, like the video, comment your thoughts on Summerween and your experience, if you participated or not, or if you will participate in the future. If you made it this far into the video and you're not totally sure what you want to say, but you just want to let me know you made it this far, comment a pumpkin or a ghost emoji in honor of Summerween. But yeah, thank you all again for coming on to this video, and I hope to see you on my next one. Bye bye.